This is why people start acting weird around you. Part 1. Your energy exposes their insecurity. Mystical highlight. High vibration light naturally reveals what's hidden in the dark. Have you ever entered a room and noticed someone shift uncomfortably, even though you didn't say a word? Or maybe a close friend suddenly pulled away, blaming your vibe, but couldn't explain why. What if I told you it's not about what you did, but what you've become? Your light is a spiritual spotlight. Raising your vibration isn't just about being happier or healthier, it's about operating on a frequency that illuminates everything around you. Think of your new energetic state as a lighthouse beam in the dark. But here's the truth no one tells you. Not everyone loves the light. Some people live in shadow, emotionally, mentally, or energetically, and when your energy becomes luminous, it casts their shadows into focus. Not to hurt them, not to judge, just by existing, you become, without even trying, a living mirror, reflecting what's hidden, avoided, or unhealed in the people around you. The physics of frequency meets the psychology of fear. Let's look at it from a quantum and emotional perspective. High vibration is associated with emotions like love, clarity, gratitude, peace, and joy. Low vibration connects to shame, guilt, fear, resentment, and jealousy. When you vibrate higher, your field emits a coherent, harmonized frequency. But when someone's internal world is chaotic, full of self-doubt, trauma, or unresolved pain, your coherence disrupts their static. And the subconscious doesn't like disruption. So what happens? They pull away, they criticize, they create emotional distance, or worse, they attack. Not because you harmed them, but because your presence activated their inner discomfort. You become a living reminder. Imagine someone who's avoided healing for years. Maybe they've numbed themselves with busyness, validation, or even denial. Then you show up, vibrating clarity, speaking truth, and radiating calm. You're not trying to make a statement, but your energy says, it's possible to change. It's possible to let go. It's possible to feel peace. To someone still trapped in avoidance, that message feels threatening, not because of what you're doing, but because of what they're not doing. They see in you the courage they're avoiding, the healing they've postponed, the self-love they haven't cultivated, and that reflection is too loud to ignore. They react to their own shadow, not you. It's easy to take it personally when someone ghosts you, mocks your growth, or withdraws. But in 90% of cases, it's not really about you. They are reacting to the parts of themselves they aren't ready to meet. You just happen to be the one holding the mirror. And here's the deeper layer. People are addicted to their wounds. Not consciously, but emotionally. They build identities around pain, the one who was betrayed, the one who always loses, the one who's never enough. So when you show up and embody a reality where healing is real and peace is possible, it threatens the very story they've clung to for years. You disrupt the ego's illusion. And when illusion cracks, the ego panics. Examples in real life. Let's get practical. You stop gossiping and start meditating. Your friends tease you for being boring or too spiritual. You choose boundaries over people pleasing. Someone accuses you of being selfish. You speak calmly in conflict. A family member says you've lost your fire. These aren't attacks on you. They're confessions of their discomfort with your shift. Your vibration is rising. Theirs is stagnant. It creates a psychic pressure they don't know how to process. Energy is always communicating. We often think communication is just words. But energy is louder than language. People feel you, even if they don't understand it. When your frequency radiates authenticity, joy, or sovereignty, it either inspires them, or triggers them. Both are reactions to being faced with a new energetic standard. And make no mistake, your frequency is a silent invitation. But only those ready to rise will respond with openness. Don't dim to comfort their insecurity. You might be tempted to shrink, to stay relatable, or to not make them uncomfortable. But the cost is your authentic self. Don't dilute your light to match their darkness. Don't trade your growth for their approval. You're not meant to shrink into old stories. You're meant to transcend them. And in doing so, you might lose some people. But you'll gain clarity, alignment, and eventually, a tribe that vibrates at your level. What can you do when this happens? 1. Observe without attachment. Don't judge them, but don't justify them either. Notice the shift with neutrality. 2. Hold compassion, not guilt. Their discomfort is not your responsibility to fix. 3. Keep expanding. Every time you dim your light to comfort someone's shadow, you delay your own evolution. 4. Attract your soul-aligned circle. When you stay in high frequency, new people will find you. Those who don't fear your growth but celebrate it. Conclusion to Part 1. So yes, people will act weird around you. They might leave, they might lash out, they might label you, but the truth is, they're not reacting to you. They're reacting to the version of themselves your energy refuses to let them ignore. And while that might hurt in the short term, it's a sacred confirmation that your light is real, and it's working. Keep rising, keep glowing, keep walking the path. Part 2. Vibrational mismatch causes static. Mystical highlight. Energy frequencies must align to resonate. Narrator voice, calm, grounded, expansive. In Part 1, we explored how your rising vibration acts as a spiritual spotlight, exposing the unhealed shadows in others. But what happens when the energy mismatch becomes so strong? It's like trying to speak two different languages in the same room? The frequency principle. Why energy needs resonance. Let's begin with a universal truth in both physics and spirituality. Resonance only happens between matching frequencies. In music, two instruments will naturally harmonize if they're tuned to the same note. If not, the result is dissonance, jarring, uncomfortable, and unaligned. Human energy fields operate the same way. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every belief you carry has a vibrational signature. When you raise your vibration through healing, mindfulness, gratitude, or deep spiritual work, you shift into a new energetic bandwidth. But if someone in your life is still vibrating in old frequencies, fear, drama, codependency, survivalism, the mismatch becomes undeniable. The static between mindsets. This isn't just about energy in a mystical sense, it plays out in conversations, decisions, and even silence. Suddenly, conversations feel forced. Jokes fall flat. Long pauses emerge where there used to be flow. You're misunderstood more often, even when you speak clearly. Why? Because you're now tuned to clarity and growth, while they're still receiving from a station that plays limitation and fear. How the mismatch plays out energetically. Energy fields interact whether we're aware or not. The human aura, a measurable electromagnetic field, extends several feet beyond your body. When two people interact, their fields interpenetrate. If the fields are harmonious, the interaction feels light and effortless, like you're on the same wavelength. If not, there's a subtle friction, an energetic rub. You'll know it when you feel drained after short conversations. You feel irritated without cause. You feel unseen or misinterpreted. As if speaking through fog. You're not better, you're just on a different station. Let's clear something up. Vibrational mismatch has nothing to do with superiority. You're not above anyone, but you are beyond who you once were. That alone creates space. You've likely noticed. You crave depth over distraction, silence over small talk, presence over performance, purpose over people pleasing. But when you interact with someone who still lives in loops of fear, gossip, or spiritual disconnection, the interaction becomes heavy. This is not judgment, it's energetic incompatibility. The emotional fallout, misunderstanding, withdrawal, or conflict. As this mismatch becomes more frequent, people around you may pull away without explanation, avoid conversations that used to feel safe, or criticize and undermine your path. Others might try to pull you back into old habits that match who they need you to be. What they're really saying is, I can't feel you the way I used to. And that scares me. When shared reality no longer exists. One of the most disorienting parts of awakening is realizing that people close to you are no longer in your reality, not metaphorically, but energetically. You could be sitting at the same table, but one of you is living in fear of the world collapsing, and the other is focused on anchoring light and compassion. You're in the same moment but not the same dimension. The spiritual reason behind the disconnection. Your soul is shedding incompatible timelines. When you raise your frequency, you begin to align with new paths, people, and opportunities. But that means you must naturally outgrow others who aren't on that trajectory. It's not punishment, it's resonance recalibration. Navigating the mismatch with grace. 1. Accept the dissonance. Don't force a connection that no longer has a shared frequency. 2. Communicate consciously. Speak with kindness, but don't water down your truth. 3. Be willing to bless and release. Let people exit your life without resistance if they no longer align. 4. Anchor in your truth. Don't shrink back to fit into an outdated dynamic. 5. Trust the magnetic pull of alignment. As you rise, new people will find you, those tuned to the same station. Remember this truth. If a person can no longer meet you at the level you're vibrating from, it's not because you're broken, it's because you're evolving. Let the static be your signal. It's time to retune your environment. Part 3. Your growth challenges their identity. Mystical highlight. Spiritual evolution forces others to confront stagnation. Narrator voice, calm, deep, compassionate. In Part 2, we explored how vibrational mismatch creates energetic static, how people seem out of sync with you. But in Part 3, we go even deeper, because sometimes it's not just about energetic discomfort, it's about identity crisis. When you grow, evolve, and embody your higher self, it doesn't just unsettle their energy. It threatens their sense of who they are. Your evolution holds a mirror to their stagnation. Growth isn't just a personal journey. It's a disruption. When you begin to change, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, you unintentionally force the people around you to confront their own inertia. You've become the living proof that transformation is possible. And that fact alone can feel deeply threatening to anyone who has built their identity around staying the same. Identity is a delicate construction. Most people don't lie from their soul. They lie from their story. These stories are crafted over years, even decades, built on labels, trauma, social roles, relationships, and survival. I'm the strong one. I'm always the victim. I'm just not that kind of person. These are not truths. They are ego structures, energetic costumes the soul puts on to survive. When you shed your costume and start showing up as your soul, it doesn't just free you, it exposes them. You make their excuses impossible to believe. Your actions, your choices, your newfound peace and power, silently ask the people around you if they can change. Why haven't I? That question, though unspoken, is enough to shatter worlds. Instead of facing it, they mock your transformation, question your authenticity, bring up your past, say, don't forget where you came from, or try to pull you back into old habits. They do this out of identity panic. When you grow, relationships get rewritten. Every relationship in your life has an unspoken agreement, an energetic contract that says, I'll be this version of me if you stay that version of you. But when you break your part of the contract, when you stop tolerating disrespect, playing small, or laughing at things that no longer resonate, you force the entire relationship dynamic to shift. If the other person isn't willing to meet you in that shift, they'll pull you back down to their version of you. They do it out of identity panic. You threaten the roles they play. You might have been the helper, the listener, the comedian, or the pushover. When you start evolving, your energy no longer agrees to play that role. You set boundaries, speak your truth, say no, choose silence over validation, and seek depth over drama. Suddenly, people feel rejected, not because you rejected them, but because you rejected the version of yourself they depended on to keep their story alive. Your transformation removes the scaffolding from their identity, and in the absence of that structure, they blame you for the collapse. The soul contract is shifting. Spiritually speaking, some souls are only meant to walk part of the journey with you. Not every relationship is meant to last a lifetime. Some are contracts for your old frequency. When you outgrow that frequency, the contract naturally dissolves. This isn't abandonment, it's evolution. Why it hurts so deeply? When people pull away or criticize your evolution, it hurts. You might think, why can't they be happy for me? Am I becoming unrelatable? Should I slow down so they feel safe? These are natural thoughts. But here's the hard truth. You cannot protect other people's illusions at the expense of your soul's expansion. You're living proof that change is possible. At the deepest level, this is why people start acting weird around you. You become the evidence that healing is real. And that's the most threatening energy of all, to those who are still hiding from their own healing. You are powerful, but also polarizing. How to move forward without shrinking. 1. It's not your fault. Their resistance is about their own unhealed parts, not your progress. 2. Keep expanding. Shrinking won't save the relationship, it will only delay your becoming. 3. Love without attachment. Hold compassion even if you can no longer hold space for their version of you. 4. Let the friction refine you. Don't resent the people who react. Let their resistance strengthen your clarity. 5. Celebrate your courage. Few people dare to leave the version of themselves that others still need. You did, and that's sacred. Closing words for part 3. You're not too much. You're not the problem. You're not abandoning anyone. You're growing. Growth, by its nature, unsettles those who've stayed the same for too long. So if people around you are acting weird, distant, critical, even hostile, don't ask what's wrong with you. Ask what your transformation is asking them to face in themselves. And keep walking forward, even if it means walking alone, for a while. Part 4. Your aura becomes uncomfortable for low vibes. Mystical highlight. A high-frequency aura creates energetic pressure. Narrator voice, centered, deep, grounded. So far, we've explored how your growth acts as a mirror, how your frequency mismatch causes static, and how your transformation challenges the identities people build their lives around. But now we move beyond words, beyond personality, and even beyond relationship roles, into the realm of pure energy. Because what if people aren't just reacting to your words or your changes? What if they're reacting to something they can't even see? The aura, your unspoken presence. Long before you speak, long before you act, people feel you. That's not metaphor. That's energy. Your aura, the subtle electromagnetic field around your body, broadcasts your current vibrational state to the world. And as you elevate, that signal becomes stronger, clearer, and harder to ignore. Imagine walking into a room with a glowing lantern. Everyone else is holding flickering candles. You didn't mean to outshine anyone, but suddenly, the whole room feels different. Some feel comforted, others feel exposed, and a few feel attacked. But you haven't said a word. It's just your field doing the talking. High-frequency fields create energetic pressure. When your aura expands through healing, spiritual practices, and conscious living, it becomes more coherent, a term used in both spirituality and quantum physics to describe harmonious, stable energy patterns. Low vibrational fields, those filled with unresolved pain, fear, shame, resentment, are chaotic and fragmented. When you're coherent, high-frequency aura enters a space of chaotic frequency. Something strange happens. Your energy pressurizes the environment. It's not aggressive, it's not intentional, but it's real. What does this look like in real life? Let's translate this energetic truth into everyday experience. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. People start talking less or become overly chatty to fill the silence. Someone who used to dominate the space suddenly becomes quiet or defensive. You can feel someone's eyes on you, not in admiration, but in discomfort. A friend says, "I don't know why, but you just feel different now." They're not reacting to your outfit or your tone of voice. They're reacting to your vibrational field. And what they're really saying is, "Your energy is making me aware of my own dissonance, and I don't know how to process that." Why low vibrations resist high frequencies? Lower vibrations are not bad. They're simply denser, heavier, more contracted. They thrive in gossip, victimhood, blame, emotional avoidance, addictive loops. These states are familiar. They're comfortable for those who haven't done the inner work. But your aura radiates sovereignty, presence, stillness, accountability, authenticity. It's like a tuning fork that makes everything around it vibrate to a higher pitch, or crack under the pressure. You become an energetic fire. And here's something mystical. In ancient spiritual traditions, elevated beings were said to emit a burning fire, not literal, but energetic. Their presence felt like heat, because their frequency was so pure and uncompromising that those in proximity felt parts of themselves being burned away. Now, you may not be a guru, but if you've been doing the inner work, clearing trauma, forgiving, meditating, you're stepping into that archetype. You become a spiritual fire. Fire doesn't discriminate. It illuminates. It warms. But it also burns away what doesn't belong. Why you make some people nervous without saying a word? Most people spend their lives numbing or avoiding truth. They create layers of energetic armor to avoid feeling vulnerable. But your aura is pure truth and presence. It doesn't attack. It simply disarms. And when someone's identity is built on masks, performing confidence, pretending joy, hiding pain, your presence becomes unbearable. It's like standing in front of a spiritual X-ray machine. They may smile, but inside, their energy is bracing for impact. Your field disrupts the collective unconscious. As your field evolves, it doesn't just affect individuals. It affects the room, at work, Meetings feel heavier after you speak, because your truth shifts the group dynamic. In social settings, your presence silences gossip without saying a word. In family gatherings, you become the target of jokes or passive aggression, because your growth is changing the emotional ecosystem. This is collective resistance. You're disrupting patterns and breaking contracts that were never based on authenticity. How to stay rooted in the midst of discomfort. 1. Don't shrink. Your light isn't the problem. Their shadows need time to adjust. 2. Practice auric hygiene. Ground, cleanse, and protect your field, not out of fear, but clarity. 3. Be discerning with your presence. Not everyone deserves full access to your energy. Presence is sacred. 4. Hold compassion, not attachment. You can love someone and still accept they can't be near your energy right now. 5. Let resonance guide your connections. The more you anchor your frequency, the more the right people will orbit you. Closing reflection. You are becoming radiant. There comes a moment when your energy speaks louder than your words. You don't need to explain your evolution. You are the explanation. And while some will walk away, others will walk into that fire, because they're ready to be illuminated too. Your aura is not a threat, it's a transmission, a silent invitation to rise. So when someone acts weird, distant, or reactive in your presence, ask, is it me, or is it my light? And if it's light, keep shining. Part 5. Your words begin to carry frequency. Mystical highlight. Activated throat chakras transmit encoded truths. Narrator voice, clear, resonant, calm. In Part 4, we explored how your aura begins to influence the environment, sometimes making others uncomfortable without a word spoken. But now we enter a new layer of transformation. What happens when you speak? When you open your mouth, your words carry a weight, a vibration that people feel deep in their body before they understand you. Words are not just sounds, they are frequencies. Most people think language is a tool for description. But in higher dimensions, language is a vehicle of energy. When your vibration rises, your words stop being just information and become vibrational transmissions. Each word carries the clarity of your consciousness, the alignment of your inner world, the coherence of your intention. You no longer speak to communicate, you speak to activate. The throat chakra as a spiritual gateway. The throat chakra, Vishuddha, governs more than speaking. It's the energetic bridge between the heart and mind. When awakened, your voice is no longer filtered by fear or ego. It becomes truth. And truth, when spoken from alignment, doesn't just make a point, it alters the field. This is why some people feel uncomfortable around you, even when your words are kind. Because peacekeeping is not the same as truth speaking. The biology of resonance. Science backs this up. Studies in cymatics show that sound literally shapes matter. Frequencies organize particles into patterns. When your vibration is high and your words are clear, those words land in the listener's nervous system. Some feel soothed. Others feel shaken. Some feel inspired. Others feel provoked. You didn't change your tone, but your words now carry truth codes, and truth is a frequency that exposes distortion. Why people react more strongly now? You may notice. People misinterpret your words more often. They say you sound intense even when calm. You offer gentle feedback and it hits like a hammer. You ask simple questions and people get defensive. Why? Because your voice carries energetic integrity. People aren't just hearing, they're feeling who you are. And if there's a gap between their projected self and true self, your words press against that gap, causing discomfort, resistance, and criticism. Every word becomes a choice point. As your voice activates, you become more selective, not out of fear, but reverence. You notice when silence is more powerful than speech, when speaking truth disrupts illusions, when timing changes vibrational outcome, when you're called to shift energy, not be heard. This is spiritual maturity, the difference between reacting and responding, between filling space and holding space. Truth tends to disturb before it liberates. Just because it's true doesn't mean it will be received well. The more authentic your voice, the more likely it is to disturb distorted dynamics. Instead of openness, you may face nervous laughter, irritation, or silence. These reactions aren't personal, they're energetic. People resist the part of themselves your words activated. How to honor your voice without ego. 1. Speak when moved, not triggered. Speak from presence, not reaction. 2. Use silence as punctuation. It lets truth land. 3. Don't chase validation. If someone is triggered, don't soften your truth for approval. 4. Keep your voice clean, no manipulation, self-importance, or need to be seen. Let it be pure frequency. 5. Remember tone. Words are vessels. Vibration shapes reality. Your voice is a healing instrument. Eventually, people will tell you. Your voice calms them. Your words brought clarity they didn't know they needed. Just talking to you made them feel seen. When your voice aligns with your vibration, it carries healing codes. Speaking from your deep inner resonance makes you a transmission of liberation. Closing reflection. The power of frequency. We're all speaking spells every day. What energy is in your words? When your frequency rises, your voice becomes sacred, able to soothe, awaken, disrupt, or elevate simply by resonating with truth. So when people act uncomfortable after you speak, when your words land too hard even when whispered, when silence grows heavy after you share your truth, don't doubt yourself. Don't dim. Speak with integrity and intention. Trust that the right ears will hear you with their minds and their souls. Part 6. You see through masks, and they know it. Mystical highlight. Intuition sharpens into clairvoyant perception. Narrator voice, quiet, unshakable, deeply present. In Part 5, we explored how your words carry energetic weight, activating or unsettling others without intention. But there's something more powerful than speaking your truth. It's when you begin to see truth without anyone saying a word. You see through masks, and they know it. The awakening of inner sight. One of the most remarkable side effects of raising your vibration is the sharpening of spiritual sight. This isn't metaphorical. You begin to feel what can't be explained, sense what isn't said, and know what others hide. This is clairintuition, the blend of feeling, knowing, and perceiving that lets you read energetic undercurrents. You don't need proof. You perceive patterns. And that vision is terrifying to those still wearing masks. You become a living mirror, deeper. In Part 1, we spoke of reflecting unhealed wounds. Now you reflect what people hide from others: fake confidence, smiling bitterness, transactional helpfulness, cheerfulness masking despair. You feel it instantly. That invalidates their performance, exposing them energetically. Energetic transparency is a side effect of purity. As you clear trauma and align with truth, your field becomes transparent. You see through density. Monks and sages throughout history were said to have penetrating gazes, not judging, just seeing. When someone still wears a persona, being seen feels like exposure. Why people react to your gaze? If people avoid eye contact, fidget when you look at them, or change the topic abruptly, it's likely because your inner vision is awake. Your eyes don't just see, they sense alignment. When words say one thing but energy says another, your eyes register the truth, even if you don't speak. That silent knowing disturbs them because deep down, they realize, I can't pretend with you. You no longer believe the persona. In modern society, we read outer behaviors, but when you rise in vibration, you read the energy behind the form. You hear, I'm fine, but sense grief. You hear, I support you, but feel competition. You trust your energetic perception more than words. That shift frees you from arguing, over-explaining, and seeking permission. Clarity breeds distance, at first. This clarity can feel lonely. You realize who's real and who's performing, who loves your truth and who loved your mask. You mourn the versions of people you thought were real. You see fear beneath their facade. And you know you see them, so some aren't ready to be seen. How to hold this gift with integrity. 1. Don't expose what someone isn't ready to face. Let timing and grace work. 2. Speak truth when it serves healing. Not everything needs saying. 3. Practice deep compassion. Remember you wore masks too. 4. Maintain energetic boundaries. Don't let guilt lure you into dysfunctional dynamics. 5. Let your sight refine discernment, not judgment. A final reflection. The eyes of the soul. Ancient mystics said the eyes are windows to the soul. But once awakened, your eyes become portals. People either feel safe or exposed. That's your frequency. When someone avoids your gaze or acts triggered after a moment of presence, don't internalize. Don't close your eyes. Don't doubt your sight. You're seeing what's real. In a world full of illusion, that's the most radical act of love. Part 7. You disrupt energetic patterns without trying. Mystical highlight. Presence alone recalibrates the field. Narrator voice, grounded, aware, compassionate. In Part 6, We explored the awakening of inner sight, how intuition sharpens into clairvoyance. But what if you say nothing? What if you simply enter a room and suddenly energy shifts, tension rises, conversations change, or people act strangely? Welcome to the power of your field. When your vibration rises, your presence alone becomes disruptive. You're no longer neutral. Most people move through life unconsciously, their energy blending into the collective. But when you elevate your frequency, your energy becomes coherent and intentional. You stop blending in and start broadcasting alignment. Without effort, you bring clarity into confusion. Your presence reveals imbalance, and patterns begin to crumble because your energy doesn't validate them. Your energy challenges what's unconscious in others. Here's what happens. You walk into a meeting, and someone stops mid-sentence. A group gossiping loses momentum when you arrive. People shift in their seats or laugh nervously. Someone seeks your validation without knowing why. Your field communicates. We're not doing unconscious patterns anymore. Those entangled in those loops feel the shift immediately. Why your presence alters the room. In quantum physics, coherence dominance describes how stable fields influence chaotic ones. Your coherent energy entrains less coherent fields around you. This isn't spiritual superiority, it's energetic reality. You've become a recalibration device. Not by effort, but by embodiment. Stillness becomes disruption. Your stillness, once making you invisible, now makes you the center of attention. In a world addicted to distraction, your stability is confronting. People may fill space with chatter, avoid eye contact, or become nervous. Their nervous systems respond to your coherence even if their minds haven't caught up. You interrupt the loop without meaning to. Imagine someone mid-rant with no intention to solve their problem. You walk in, and they stop or turn their frustration to you. It's not personal. Your presence doesn't support stagnation loops. Your field silently says, this isn't aligned. The pattern breaks because your energy doesn't validate it. You become a disruptor of emotional homeostasis. Most people live in energy loops, codependency, suppression, victim-persecutor dynamics. These patterns exist in families, workplaces, friend groups. You enter, you refuse to play the role, and the system wobbles, uncomfortable with the broken loop. People often blame you, when in fact, you simply stopped feeding the dysfunction. How to hold this power with grace. 1. Don't take it personally. People react to energy shifts, not your character. 2. Don't explain your presence. Let your field speak. 3. Honor your influence. Your coherence is medicine, not control. 4. Stay embodied. Grounding maintains your field amid chaos. 5. Let old patterns fall apart. You're here to embody a new system, not fix the broken one. The call of the disruptor. This role isn't always welcomed, but if you're watching this, you felt it. The unexplainable discomfort others show in your presence. The weird energy shift when you enter a room. The collapse of old dynamics when you stop feeding them. This isn't a curse. It's confirmation. Your frequency is active. Your presence is medicine. Your field does the work words cannot. Final reflection. You're not just a person. You're a pattern breaker. You didn't awaken to repeat history. You came to change the field. When people act differently around you, when the energy feels off, you're not doing something wrong. You're doing something real. You are alignment in a world addicted to fragmentation. And that is exactly why you're here. Part 8. You become a mirror for their spiritual potential. Mystical highlight. Lightworkers often catalyze silent awakenings. Narrator voice, warm, deep, encouraging. In Part 7, we explored how your energy disrupts unconscious patterns without trying. You shift rooms just by entering them. You unsettle cycles by no longer feeding them. But there's a deeper layer. While some people feel threatened by your truth, others feel awakened, whether they admit it or not. You're not just seen, you're felt. When you embody clarity, self-love, and alignment, your presence reflects who others could become. You trigger an unspoken question. If it's possible for them, is it possible for me? For a moment, they see the healed version of themselves, a flash of potential that both illuminates and frightens. Some lean in, some run. Either way, they won't forget what they felt. You activate dormant selves. Everyone carries unrealized potential, talents never expressed, courage never summoned. Your frequency activates these dormant aspects, not by preaching, but by being. When they hear your story of healing, witness your inner peace, or feel your grounded presence. They remember a version of themselves buried beneath pain and programming. You reminded them that change is possible. You become the fork in their road. When someone recognizes their potential through you, they reach a spiritual crossroads. Do I rise to meet what's possible? Or retreat to the safety of my identity? This decision plays out in their behavior toward you. Those ready to grow lean in. Those who fear change pull away. Make passive-aggressive remarks. Downplay your transformation. Or act on change. You didn't provoke them. You simply held up the mirror. The sacred tension of potential. People can be simultaneously inspired and triggered by you. They may admire your peace yet resent their lack of it. They may envy your freedom while mocking your path. They may crave your confidence but dismiss it as fake because it challenges their self-doubt. You embody the bridge between who they are and who they could be, and standing near that bridge can be overwhelming. The unseen work of light beings. In spiritual terms, this is the role of a light worker, to catalyze evolution through presence. Not through fixing. Your life becomes a silent transmission. You can let go. You can rise. You can remember who you are. Some will hear this with their soul and follow. Others will resist, but your presence echoes in their field, a call home. Why this role feels isolating, but is sacred. Being a mirror for potential is both beautiful and lonely. You walk ahead of others. You feel things before they name them. You sense when people stand at the edge of awakening, but can't cross. You'll learn not everyone wants to be free. That realization hurts. Your heart wants to say, "Come with me, it's lighter here," but all you can do is stand in your light and let them choose. You are the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. How to hold the mirror without ego. 1. Detach from outcome. Don't expect people to evolve because they saw you do it. 2. Release the need to be understood. They may resist now, but the seed is planted. 3. Practice humble embodiment. You're not better. You're just aligned. 4. Let silence ripple. Some truths need space, not explanation. 5. Celebrate private victories. Trust that your presence matters, even when unseen. Closing reflection. You are the mirror. Your growth isn't self-indulgent. It's service. Every time you choose alignment over approval, you hold up a mirror, not just reflecting pain, but revealing potential. When people act strange, distant, or conflicted around you, ask, what version of themselves are they seeing in me? And are you willing to keep reflecting their potential, even if they're not ready to meet it? One day, they just might. Part 9. You're no longer energetically accessible. Mystical highlight. Boundaries form naturally when vibration rises. In Part 8, we explored how your awakened presence becomes a mirror for the unrealized potential in others, how you silently invite people to rise, and yet often watch them retreat instead. Now we move into a more subtle shift, one that often goes unnoticed, until relationships start falling away. Interactions feel forced, and people begin saying things like, "You've changed," or "You're so distant now." But what if that distance isn't intentional? What if it's not personal at all, but energetic? Because when your vibration rises, something very quiet and very powerful begins to happen. You become inaccessible to lower frequencies. Not out of resistance, but because you're no longer available to play the roles, loops, and energetic games you once participated in. Your field simply stops engaging. And the people who depended on that engagement feel it. Your frequency withdraws before you do. You don't have to cut people off. You don't have to announce your boundaries. You don't even have to say, no. Because when you evolve, your energy starts saying it for you. What once felt like connection now feels like heaviness. What once felt familiar now feels draining. What once felt necessary now feels misaligned. And the most surprising part? You stop having the emotional capacity to participate in what no longer serves you. Not because you're cold, but because your soul is conserving energy for truth. You can feel it happening. The way you no longer respond to drama. The way you forget to follow up on conversations that don't matter. The way your body tenses when someone tries to pull you into old roles. This isn't burnout. It's energetic closure. You're not running away. You're just no longer open for business at frequencies that don't honor your evolution. Others feel it, even before they understand it. And here's where things get strange. People notice the shift, long before you name it. They say, "You're distant. You're not as available as you used to be. I don't feel the same connection anymore." They're not wrong. Because even if your words stay polite, even if your face wears a gentle smile, Your energy is no longer accessible in the way it once was. It no longer entangles. It no longer overextends. It no longer agrees to perform, fix, explain, or absorb. And people who were attached to those unspoken contracts feel the cord fray. Why this shift is often misinterpreted. People don't miss you. They miss the version of you that used to make their dysfunction more comfortable. They miss the old you who overgave. The one who laughed at jokes that weren't funny. The one who absorbed tension just to keep the peace. The one who dimmed their truth to avoid triggering others. Now, that version is gone. And rather than confront what that means, they'll often accuse you of changing, project coldness onto your clarity, interpret your boundaries as abandonment. But none of it is personal. They're not reacting to your withdrawal. They're reacting to the energetic dependency they never acknowledged until it was gone. The power of clean energy detachment. There is a difference between withdrawing in fear and releasing in clarity. When you elevate, your detachment doesn't come from resentment. It comes from sovereignty. You no longer feel compelled to rescue people from their own lessons. Be liked at the cost of your authenticity. Enter emotional spaces you've outgrown. You can still love them. You can still wish them well. But your field no longer signs contracts with people who refuse to rise. And that quiet, unapologetic energetic boundary is liberating. For you. And eventually, for them. Energetic sovereignty looks like this. You stop over-explaining your absence. You allow conversations to end when they lose resonance. You trust the silence that follows detachment. You stop chasing connection and let it find you, organically. You no longer feel guilty for not being available to old versions of others, or yourself. This is not emotional aloofness. This is frequency hygiene. Just like a body rejects what no longer nourishes it, your energy starts rejecting what no longer aligns with your purpose. Who you were is no longer accessible either. It's not just others who feel the distance. You do too. You look back and realize. You no longer relate to who you were 6 months ago. You can't access certain thoughts or behaviors anymore. Even memories feel distant, not because they're gone, but because you've transcended the timeline they belong to. This can be disorienting. You might ask, why do I feel so far from people I used to love? Why can't I fake it anymore, even to keep the peace? Why does silence feel more honest than forced connection? Because your vibration has moved on. And with it, your energetic access to old roles, old realities, and old rhythms has closed. How to navigate this shift gracefully? This phase is sacred, but delicate. It requires emotional maturity and spiritual trust. Here's how to walk it with grace. 1. Let the silence speak. You don't owe anyone an explanation for following your alignment. 2. Honor old connections without reattaching. You can hold gratitude for the past, without reopening the portal to it. 3. Don't romanticize your old self. Growth isn't betrayal, it's liberation. 4. Protect your peace like it's sacred. Because it is. Your energy is now a sanctuary, treat it accordingly. 5. Trust that those meant for your frequency will feel you clearly. You won't need to force connection. Resonance will do the work. Closing reflection. The gift of sacred absence. You don't have to slam doors. You don't have to ghost anyone. You don't have to defend your growth. You just have to stay in your truth. And let your energy do what your words never could. Withdraw from what no longer serves, and radiate for what now does. So if people say you've changed, smile gently. They're right. You're not emotionally unavailable. You're energetically sovereign. And not everyone gets a key to your new frequency. Because where you're headed requires space for peace. Part 10. You trigger their ego's survival mechanism. Mystical highlight. The ego resists awakening by attacking what threatens it. In Part 9, we explored how your energetic field becomes inaccessible to people and patterns you've outgrown, how your vibration silently withdraws from anything not in resonance. But there's a more volatile reaction you may encounter on this path. One that doesn't look like distance or silence, but like conflict, projection, and sudden aggression. Because when your transformation becomes too bright, too undeniable, and too real, it doesn't just confuse people. It threatens them, not the soul part of them, the ego part. And the ego fights to survive. You're not attacking them, but their ego feels attacked. Here's the paradox. You didn't try to prove anything. You didn't preach. You didn't criticize. You just became more centered, more conscious, more alive. But your presence triggered a part of them that says, "This is unsafe. This is unfamiliar. This threatens everything I believe about who I am." That part is the ego, the false self constructed from fear, identity, survival roles, and emotional conditioning. And when your energy reflects freedom, authenticity, sovereignty, their ego goes on high alert. Because ego cannot survive in environments of spiritual truth. So it either runs or fights. The ego responds like it's under attack. You may notice sudden outbursts or arguments over small things. A shift in tone or body language that feels confrontational. Accusations like, "You think you're better than everyone." Attempts to gaslight, discredit, or provoke you. Rehashing of the past to try to anchor you to your old self. These are not signs of conscious malice. They are signs of unconscious ego panic. Because your current vibration doesn't just challenge their comfort zone. It threatens the identity they've spent years constructing. And when the ego feels it's dying, it lashes out to survive, often at the very person who triggered its unraveling. That person is you. Why this feels so personal, but isn't. When this happens, you might ask, what did I do wrong? Why are they so angry when I've been kind? Why am I suddenly being attacked just for being myself? And the answer is, you activated something they were not ready to face. You didn't attack their ego. Your presence made its limitations obvious. And now, in a last-ditch effort to maintain control, it must make you wrong, create chaos, reinforce their old story. This isn't about you. This is about energetic survival on a subconscious level. You're not the enemy. You're the exit door from the illusion they're terrified to leave. Common ego defense mechanisms you may trigger. As your vibration rises, you may start triggering unconscious ego defenses, including projection. They attribute their fear, insecurity, or jealousy to you. Minimization. They dismiss your transformation as fake, fleeting, or delusional. Defensiveness. They interpret your peace as passive aggressiveness or superiority. Victimhood. They recast your boundary as a betrayal. Rationalization. They construct elaborate justifications to avoid facing the mirror you offer. None of these reactions are signs that you should stop evolving. They're signs that your energy is working, even if it's uncomfortable. How to stay grounded in the storm. It can feel deeply unjust to be attacked, judged, or resented just for healing. But the moment you understand that you're triggering ego defenses, not soul rejection, you stop taking it personally. Here's how to hold your center. 1. Respond with presence, not reaction. Ego feeds on chaos. Stillness starves it. 2. Don't play the role they assign you. Refuse to become the villain in their narrative. Just observe. 3. Hold compassion without enabling. You can understand their fear without validating their projection. 4. Maintain energetic boundaries. Walk away if necessary. Love does not require proximity. 5. Speak only what serves the soul, not the story. Your words should liberate, not dominate. This isn't about superiority, it's about frequency. Let's be clear. This is not about us versus them. This is not about spiritual elitism or superiority. Everyone has an ego. You've had your own survival mechanisms too. You've resisted your own mirrors in the past. But now, your frequency has shifted. You're no longer operating through ego. You're anchoring in truth, and truth exposes everything that isn't real. That exposure isn't cruelty. It's clarity. But to someone who still lives behind their constructed self, your authenticity feels like a threat to their survival. Until they choose truth too. Eventually, some will thank you. Not everyone who reacts to you negatively is lost forever. Sometimes your presence plants a seed, breaks the illusion, triggers a dark night of the soul that leads to healing. They may not see it today. They may reject it tomorrow. But in time, some will look back and say, "You showed me who I really was, when I was still hiding." And even if they don't, your presence still did its work. Because transformation doesn't always look like applause. Sometimes, it looks like resistance. But beneath that resistance is awakening, in progress. Final reflection. Let the ego react, you stay aligned. As this series comes to a close, let this truth anchor you. You are not here to make people comfortable. You are here to make people remember. And remembering often hurts, before it heals. So when someone attacks your peace, mocks your evolution, or resists your presence, don't retreat, don't shrink, don't match their chaos. Stay in your truth. Stay in your light. Stay in your frequency. The ego may react, resist, or rage, but the soul? The soul will recognize you. And that is who you're really speaking to.